Investor Connect podcast program. This is Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show, in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, private equity, family offices, and many other investor groups for startups and growth companies. I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you for joining us. Well, hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today I'm here with Jorge Azpe and Samuel Gutierrez of the Schok. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Hello, Hal. Thanks for having us here.
Hi, how are you, Hal? Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks. Well, can you guys talk a little bit about your background before joining the Schok? What did you do before this?
Well, I have been for more than 25 years selling diverse of products in the consumer electronic arena, both in Canada, United States, and Mexico. I exported to Mexico the first web TV, if you remember, in the 90s. We actually brought also to that country a couple of IPOs in technology. And recently, we have been basically studying in depth the mobility market in the United States and how to penetrate it on a correct way. And Jorge?
Thank you, Sam. This is Jorge Azpe, and thanks for having us here again. I'm a senior global finance leader with experience in consumer packaged goods, financial services, and obviously now retail electronics as an entrepreneur. And within my career, I've been handling several sales finance positions, as well as my formation is engineer. So I have migrated and gone from being an engineer to being a sales finance leader. And basically, my whole philosophy is about improving processes and financials and having profitable growth within the organizations. And the passion here that we bring to the table is getting into space that is looking at having a lot of opportunity and how can we grow and get a share of a space that it's very, very big, which is right now the electronics business. So in a nutshell, experience globally within CPGs, consumer packaged goods, financial services, and retail electronics. Thank you, Hal.
Sure. For all the spaces out there, why did you choose the mobile device space? What led you to innovate there versus other ones?
Well, I have a tremendous passion on consumer electronics, and let's go deep into mobility. I believe there's a big gap from the beautiful iPhone and from the beautiful Samsung S10. You go down and there's a lot of dilution in quality and in performance and in design on the entry level into the mid level of the market. And we decided that it was time to really focus completely into develop something really amazing for the entry level to mid level consumer in the United States. There's a lot of whys. The most important also that it was recently been generating is the exit of Huawei, CTE, the weakening of Alcatel in the market, that it's perfect, is a perfect storm for us in a good way, because we have been preparing for this moment for quite some time now. And now the market opened drastically to us. Just I want to give you an idea. I mean, the market, it's close to $85 billion market in North America, and then go deep, or then go a little more into particular into the United States, and we have a $78 billion market. Out of those, basically 77% of the population has already a phone. However, something that if you ask the question, okay, who's selling these phones? Well, everybody will say like an iPhone. Well, something very interesting. If you really study the market, you're going to realize that 48% of all the smartphones sold in the United States are priced under $399. So the market is really big. And with the exit of these big Chinese companies, for whatever the reason, that I don't want to discuss that right now, but you are going to have that there's a huge necessity of high quality entry-level phones in the market. So we believe that with the DNA of honesty, discipline, and creativity that we have, and with the current good partners and suppliers that we have, such as Qualcomm and other very important suppliers as well, we can really grab a very important piece of the market, Hall.
So are there a lot of companies working on this space? Certainly on the components and all the parts that go into it, there's a lot of companies, but actually making the devices, how many companies are working on it at that level?
Well, that is a very good question. And I was actually over the weekend surprised to find that in the United States, there are 15 companies and doing basically smartphones or selling smartphones. The interesting thing is that out of those 15 companies, only 3 are made created in the United States, let's say. I mean, designed in the United States, or they are US corporations. That is basically Google, the number 1. The number 2, it's a low tier unlock company called Blue. And there's another one called Orbic. Out of that, I mean, on the Android segment, imagine that there's 15 brands and only 3 are actually US corporations. And we believe that we are entering on a very nice and very solid grounds that we can discuss further, and why we know that we are going to take the market by surprise.
So what are the major challenges for building these phones in the US or just in the market in general? What are the barriers for developing and innovating right now?
Well, for innovating, there's no barrier. I mean, innovation, you can do it even while you're sleeping. You can actually think a new idea and you can bring it to the market. But for creating or assembly or manufacturing a phone, yes, there's a lot of challenges. First of all, there are only there are 2 countries in the world that they are actually manufacturing smartphones. The biggest one, I think everybody knows the answer, is China. And the second one is India. Everybody from Apple to whatever the brand, all the phones are made in China. So you can actually design your phone here completely 100%. You can actually use American technology, like from Qualcomm, for example, which is the developer company for the chips. But other than that, you need to begin buying small chips and making a nice cocktail that will actually in a phone. And all of this is assembled and manufactured in China. So going back to your original question, I think innovation is what we're bringing to the table. And not us, but also a lot of companies worldwide. But the manufacturing process right now is basically China and India.
So what has Schok done in this field, and how are you different from the rest?
Okay, well, that's a very good question, and I think that is our DNA. First of all, we have a belief that any phone, I mean, why to do it ugly? I mean, you see these entry-level phones, and with all due respect to their brand, they are ugly, they are dull, they are weak, they are cheap, which is a very big difference to see affordable than to cheap, and they are made cheap. Where company is completely the opposite, where quality is there, our integrity is there, the strength of the phone, even in the structure, is very, very well made. We're one of the few companies doing the whole structure made of steel. Also, design-wise, we have an amazing chief design officer that is one of the top 20 illustrators in the world. And he's designing beautiful, beautiful products. So when you put together the knowledge that we have in the technology side, which is to choose the correct chipsets, to do the correct strategic alliances with these suppliers, and then put together a beautiful design and enrobe it into a very attractive packaging. And lastly but not least, we put a very strong bundle inside the accessory side. So when you open the phone for the first time, you're going to find that is not like the other entry-level phones from the big brands, that you have only a phone, a cable, and a charger, and that's it. With us, you open a beautiful packaging that is basically designed by artists, and then you realize that there's inside a larger cable, 5-foot cable, so you can put it in your bed and you can still working while charging. You have a beautiful 9H nanotechnology glass protector for your device. It has a hybrid silicone with plastic with anti-scratch resistant structure protector for the phone. It has even a magnet holder for your car that you can put it in your car and you can put the phone on top, and cable, earphones, charger, and the icing on the cake, we even have 4 different battery covers. So if you are red, then your color for the phone will be red because it has a red cover. And vice versa, it's going to black, or to blue or to yellow or to white. So these customers really now, they are getting in love with the brand. We received yesterday, out of the blue, one person sending us a gift card saying thank you for the phone. He wanted to give us $20 more via gift card because he loves their device. So I think we're doing something correctly as we are really giving a lot of respect to the entry level.
So what target markets are you going after? Are you going after the general user, the business user, the educational user? Where do you find the initial traction coming from?
Well, definitely the brick and mortar retail, which is a general user. We began our journey 2 years ago. We began actually our journey in Sam's Club in Puerto Rico, and that they gave us that market to develop a tablet. At that time, 2 years ago, we competed with Samsung, with Apple, and 3 months later, we actually sold 3 times more than Samsung at the same time, at the same price level. 3 months later, they discontinued that brand, which is really, if you think about it, is amazing. And then we won the most beautiful display in the store in the Walmart Awards. Then we stopped that validation of our DNA and began selling our smartphones last June with Target nationwide here in the United States. And long story short, we have been blessed by being the number 2 selling smartphone in their store. We actually are selling in the unlocked market. We're selling more devices than Nokia, than Sony, than LG, and we're comparable product from Blue. So imagine that we are a new company. We haven't done yet our marketing initiatives. And due to the fact that the product speaks by itself, we are the number 2 selling phone in the unlocked department, and we're the number 1 in the dollar contribution for Target. So it's a beautiful story. But we're not stopping there. I mean, retail for us is our bread and butter. And now we're going to Best Buy. We're presenting to Staples, Micro Center, all the big guys. Now we're presenting to them. We have a beautiful meeting coming. And I say beautiful because it's going to be everybody with Best Buy and all their leader team, the team leaders, for adding a complete end cap of our products for beginning in Q3 of this year, which I believe that is unheard considering that we are a new company and they love our devices so much that now they want to give us a full end cap instead of another Asian brand that is in there. And then we're stopping on the brick and mortar and we're going to B2B, which I think the market is, I will say the word humongous, and it's a correct word to say, considering that approximately $13 billion is now open due to the exit of Huawei and the weakening position of Alcatel and CTE. And all these carriers now need phones. So we're already in a couple of RFPs with Sprint and with Verizon and their MVNOs. And I cannot say more because we have obviously NDAs, but you're going to be hearing about Schok very soon and a lot.
Sound like you're getting a lot of traction in the marketplace and you're finding a lot of acceptance for the product. It sounds like the design and the color and so forth is a real differentiator in the marketplace as well. And it sounds like you're getting a lot of traction with a variety of users out there that's taking it further afield. So kudos to you guys for putting that together. In the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
Well, I think that colors is an important factor because, I mean, not everybody is black, right? I mean, everybody, when I say black, is the color of the devices usually are black. And a lot of people, they are getting tired about having the same type of device. So when you add color in the device, the user, you get a smile, a very big smile from the consumer. And they are really appreciating the fact that we're taking the time to put a little more color into these devices, which as a result, we are having the pleasure of being a new customer, a new brand for them. For the new devices, we are doing something even more aggressive. We are using a new technology in all our devices called IMD, which is a process in which you put a film. It can be carbon fiber, Kevlar, any design. And on top, you put a beautiful lac that it looks like glass, but it's not glass. Why I'm saying this? Because now everybody wants the glass thing, but us as a manufacturers, we don't like the glass for one simple reason. It breaks. and then the consumer needs to pay a lot of money to fix that glass. So what we're doing is using a completely new technology, which is very expensive, that looks awesome. It looks beautiful and attractive, but it's very good for the transmission of the cellular signals, the radios inside, and then it's very good for actually sustaining the daily use and avoiding any breakage. So in that type of formula, we believe that we are going to have a lot of customers happy when they see their devices, that they shine like a beautiful exotic car painting on their phone, and it's actually under $399.
Wow. It's quite a change from what we see out there now. So it looks good for the future there. It seems like the market's going to more niches. You're making devices that are specific to certain areas. I didn't want to get into it, but Apple's earnings are down because they've saturated the market. But what comes after the general market saturation is niche marketing, where you're selling, like you guys are selling to specific applications, something that's a little bit more specific to what they need. And so it seems like that's a good play for the future for you guys.
The problem with Apple, I see it, this is my personal opinion, they have three issues right now. The first issue is that in the past, you can go and buy an iPhone for $699, maximum $899. So you know that you will buy your iPhone every year. But then Apple developed this beautiful phone that crossed a very delicate threshold, that is a threshold of more than $1,000. And at that price level, and now to $1,200 certain phones, you still want the phone, but now you're going to wait longer in the cycle. So now the same people want their phone, but instead of buying it every year, now they're going to wait 2 years. And that is hurting them tremendously. The second issue with Apple right now is the slowdown in the Chinese economy. Everybody's panicking in China, and the sales are slowing. And more with the trade war is really making a big dent on the Chinese side. So they are taking a lot of precautions, the consumers. And third is that Apple is no longer bulletproof. I believe that their devices are good, but now they are beautiful devices out there that they can compete with them easily at 30-40% below price. So the consumer is getting to now realizing that, and they are actually taking that chance. So that is why those three things are hurting Apple, in my personal belief. And Apple needs to really take the bull by the horns and begin to be creative again if they don't want to have this cycle coming again to them.
Thank you guys for taking time. How best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
Well, they can, if they want, they can call me directly to my cell, or they can go to LinkedIn. My ID in LinkedIn is Samuel GTZ. G as a Google, T as a Thomas, Z as a zebra. So it's Samuel GTC, and they can leave me a message there. Also, something that I wanted to tell you, Hal, is the current new alliance that we are forming with Qualcomm. So from now on, all our devices for the entry level and mid-level are going to be Qualcomm based, which is an amazing experience considering the price of the phones. So a lot of the companies, or like with my competition, they are using MTK chipset, MediaTek, which are good chipsets, but they don't have the type of quality that Qualcomm has in their modems. And all of our phones are going to be with a new Qualcomm chipset, the newest chipsets available in the market, that it's going to guarantee a better performance versus our competitors and a better customer satisfaction due to the high quality of these chipsets that they are designed here in the United States.
Well, great. Well, we'll put that information in the show notes so people can get back in touch with you guys, as well as the website. Appreciate you guys taking time today and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hal, for the time. And hopefully we'll get a lot of calls, and welcome any investor, and happy to talk to any potential opportunities that are out there.
Thank you, Hal. It was fun, and anytime.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Paul Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.